You know what I'm saying? How's everything been with you?
Man, watching this show play out.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, this show is definitely playing out. Did you get a chance to see Kendrick Lamar's performance last night?
Oh yes, I did. You see
Yeah,
how they had all of those different sets up there together in unity. Remember, I told you that was gonna
yep.
happen.
I thought about you. That's why I brought it up. That's why I said, damn, Ryan was talking about this shit. He was like, oh man. So
That's
tell me
the,
about that. Tell me
this
about that.
look. This the 9/11 of the show right here. This to bring them down, bring them towers down. I'm
Woo.
tower number 7. So look,
Yeah.
in the West Coast, they follow the oral tradition hard.
Uh-huh.
So the OGs gotta okay certain moves before the YGs move. So we've been talking to OGs. We've been using different OGs from the block that know what's going on to go talk to the other OGs and tell them how the enemy tricked us, turned us against each other, sicked us on each other like ravenous pit bulls. And we've been fighting each other, believing what the enemy misled us into doing. And it's been a shock to the conscience of a lot of the young brothers that have been putting in work.
Mm.
So when they start realizing how the trick was ran on us, the kind game, to turn us against each other, they didn't want no more parts of killing us because we need each other to fight them off.
Right.
So now the OGs and the YGs out west, they saying it's on, it's ready, we ready. And if you don't know how the West Coast ride, don't go out there and F around and find out. They not playing. They dead serious. Do not finna come with the, like, we caught them in the Rodney King riots, police dressing up like gangbangers to start the wars back up, to keep us fighting each other. We caught them. It is not a secret, right? So now we able to produce enough evidence to walk the youngsters through what's been going on to turn us against each other, and they not buying it. They cut from a different cloth for a reason.
Right. Oh yeah.
So now Kendrick brought it to the public domain.
Mm-hmm.
They can't come out in the unity, the show of unity, and turn the unity key into all tribes understand the nature of the return and the restoration of the clans across the land. When the West Coast came out with that show of unity, that was a message to the Midwest and to the East and the Southeast and to the South. Y'all ready? We ready. If you go back and listen to what Kendrick said, he said, we unified now, we ready.
Oh yeah.
What they ready for?
That was a beautiful thing to see right there, Ryan.
That was a monumental milestone for us as a unified front against the colonizers.
Yeah. And it's funny, the person he's battling against,
so even if Drake just being the fall guy, he playing the part in order for us to pay attention to the stellar alignment so we could see what spirit is moving humans to do on Earth.
Indeed.
You know, so somebody had to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
So Drake took on the bad guy.
He took on that role.
Well, because Kendrick had to be the good guy. He had to be the one, the knight in shining armor that comes through and slays the dragon for the princess. Who's the princess?
Just about to ask that. Who's the princess?
He said, we ain't been right since who died?
Who he said?
He said Nipsey and he said Kobe.
Right.
All right. And the princess is Laura London. Because Laura London was the one who was riding a white horse in the photographs with Nipsey. So in order for Nipsey legacy to be solidified, one of his brethren had to stand up in order to solidify the legacy by confirmation. This they reenacting an ancient story called it's called the Holy Drama. It's the story of the prince rising to power in the Osirian resurrection. Right. So when you see it play out in one genre, it's playing out somewhere else too. It's playing out in the political arena with different characters using the different format, but it's the same story being told. They finally starting to leak the fact that this Joe Biden stuff is deep fake on the mainstream news. And we've been talking about it, what, 3 years on your show?
Yeah, no, definitely about 3.
So now they just not starting to leak it out. What make them start leaking it now? At the same time, they showing this LA unity.
Right.
In the mainstream media, this is they setting the stage for the grand finale. Bring down the towers. You know the CIA code name for the Twin Towers was called the Gemini Project.
No, damn, bro, you going in there.
Look, it's called the Gemini Project. It was set for September 11th, but it's really 7/11 because Sep means 7. Right? So we got the unknown tower is tower number 7. That didn't get hit by a plane, but it still fell. Right? So in the midst of what looked like 2 towers falling, you seeing 2 towers rising. So you're looking at a political move and a entertainment move that's parallel in the movements of the tribes. Following the what they call the Gemini Code. I think it was a movie called The Gemini Man.
It was, yeah.
And it was some futuristic shit, right? It was something about some futuristic stuff. We in the future now from where we was when we was babies. We've arrived in the future of the child that was born when we was babies. We adults now. We didn't arrive in the future as babies, though. We rose into the future as adults. We got here. The future is when the new age begins. It's on the flip side of the Maherta, but who's going to see the Maherta when it's coming, and who going to sound the alarm and let the people know? Because that's between 2 pillars. Right? So it opens up a gateway to the center of the universe for Prime Creator to send source codes in to be filtered through the women using the Schumann resonance and the solar flares. And the answers coming in the UV in order to adjust the genetics of the child, because the prayers of the women is answered through the womb. Right? So when the child becomes next generation, these babies born now, they're going to be on a whole nother level from the babies who was born as we grew up. Right? Because they got a different function. We're going into a golden age, but we first have to get the warriors to still keep the warrior mentality, but be willing to work the farm. You know how to defend the farm so that when one of our farms is in danger, all of the farmers can mount up now. Because we are farmers.
Right.
And you know what a male farmer called, right?
What?
A husband. So all these women looking for a husband, but they making business deals that don't got nothing to do with finding a husband or a mate. It got everything to do with merging 2 corporations together so you can be unified and exploited together. Let's go into this exploitation together so they can exploit us twice as hard for twice as long. You know, a license is a permission to do something that's illegal. Think about that for a minute. You need a marriage license to get married. Who is illegal to get married? When was it ever illegal for somebody to get married? So you need a license to get married, or it's not recognized. The tribes don't need license, though. We get married by culture, right? My mama might take this chick's mama 15 blankets to represent 15 blankets of protection to turn something around off the union. It's political, it's spiritual. It don't got nothing to do with the government though. But it got everything to do with the people. So when they looking for a husband, they really looking for a farmer. That's why they kicked us all off our farms with sharecropping agreements. To make the men unfit to be a husband because they don't know how to do nothing. But one of them boys on them country boys on the farm know how to do everything on the farm. You know, they can butcher the cattle, plant the crops, harvest the crops, repair the house, build a new barn. They know how to do it all. But a city slick only know what the people at the job taught him how to do at work. Even if he went to school and got a degree.
Yeah. Damn, Rob, what you smoking today, man? You just went in for 15 minutes nonstop, man. What? That must be some good shit today, man.
Hey, look, you know me. I stay ready. I don't got to get ready. It was just outformation time for the information that was being relayed.
Yeah.
The question that you asked brought all that to the surface.
Speaking of farming and crops, and you know, there's specific times that you got to do certain things when it comes to farming. We're talking about the cosmos. We're talking about a new age that's coming along. Rod, should we be using new clocks? Do you think eventually we're gonna have to implement new clocks as we enter this new golden age, Rod?
To control the way time is told is to control the way people experience time. So it will be up to the collective if they think that we need a new system of understanding time. And if the collective feel like the old structure of time is contradictory or counterproductive, then the scientist is going to come up with some miraculous discovery that alters the perception of time. We didn't know this mathematical formula, but once we solved it, this happened with the time continuum. A new discovery, because the collective will demand it. But if it's fine that it's nothing wrong with the time continuum, but the management of time within the continuum, that requires the individual to learn how to be a better manager of his own time. Right? Then it wouldn't require us to change the clock. We might change calendars. More than likely, we would change calendars. Because when a new power or a new when a new government is established, they have to change the lines of demarcation, the names of what we call metropolises, what they call them capital cities, but they metropolises. All of the metropolises have to be renamed by the people of the land. They can either go back to an ancient name or come up with an entirely new name altogether. We already started doing it by nicknaming our city.
What you mean?
They don't call Chicago, they call it Chirac.
Right, okay.
Right? They don't call Brooklyn, they call it the Boogie Down.
No, that's the Bronx. Boogie Down, that's the Bronx.
Oh yeah, the Bronx, my bad. I get them mixed up sometimes because I ain't from New York.
Yeah.
But you close enough to know how to make the correction.
Yeah.
We do this tribally. The tribe from the area becomes dissatisfied with the definition that the city is living up to its name. So in order to change how the city is defined, the tribe start calling the city by a different name. That's just the nature of the culture. Right? Like we don't just call Michigan, we call it the murder meeting. Right? All of these is the tribes being dissatisfied with the current conditions, telling the hierarchy and the chiefdom, fix this problem right here. So then we had to figure out, okay, well, who is right now controlling the state of Michigan under the name Michigan? We got to go find out who they is, and they gonna either explain to us who named it Michigan and why is it still got that name and why we not following none of the tribal names for the land,
Right.
right? And then when they don't have a sufficient answer, then the chiefs pull rank and, well, we ain't gonna call it that no more,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was done by territory, but now because we was colonized all the way from Canada to the bottom of South America and the islands, even the South Pacific, talking about the Hawaiian Islands, the Samoan Tonga, all of those islands, the colonizers didn't stop nowhere. So now everything had to be reclassified according to the wishes of the people that's from the area.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to continue to surrender their sovereignty and allow other people to control their destiny, then the closest nearing people who wants to control their destiny will gladly take on the responsibilities to and get rid of the colonizer.
Mm-hmm.
So that way that a tribe that don't want to take his tribal spot, you got a tribe that'll absorb them to make sure that they be able to live according to the tribal traditions of the great law.
Mm-hmm. Russ, speaking of the law, down here in this realm on this planet, in order to maintain order, we have something called arrest. You arrest somebody when they break the law because you're supposed to be trying to maintain order. Um, Speaking of the cosmos, and we're analyzing this as above, so below, is there such thing as cosmic arrest? If there's entities out there in the cosmos, is that an aspect that they experience cosmically like we experience on this realm?
You don't have to arrest nobody when you get out of the 3D.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
When the energy goes rogue in the 3D and the vessel that's carrying the rogue energy is informed of it, he's just going to go to the people that can help him correct the negative energy. But
Mm-hmm.
some of them so far gone that the energy had to be totally disrupted at source.
Oh,
When you
okay.
have to disrupt it at source, they call that splitting the soul because that soul would never reconstitute with that psychology ever again.
Damn.
It's like it'll start over from scratch
Right.
as a new soul,
Right.
a blank slate.
Mm. Now, in terms of entities that may be what we call negative or um, low vibrational, what's the highest dimension they could go? Because I hear people talking about there's 11 dimensions. I hear different numbers for how many dimensions there are, but is there a certain like maybe they hang on the third, the fourth, or whatever? What's the highest dimension a low vibrational entity can go?
Well, they coming from the mirror lower realms, but
Mm,
they can only ascend to about the realm of thought. That's fourth dimension mind matrix.
fourth, okay,
When
okay.
you get to fifth dimension spirit matrix, if they ascend to that point, their whole constitution will rearrange and they will no longer be low vibrational beings.
Mm,
So that's what you call a great awakening,
mm,
right? So if the higher level being can go to the lower levels and maintain his constitution to a depth that's deeper
mm,
in lower vibration, then a low vibration being can ascend to heights beyond the fifth dimensional spirit realm,
mm, mm.
the which is actually soul matrix, where your essence is incorporated into your or paired with your mentality in order to have a higher consciousness in the physical.
Mhm, mhm. How many dimensions are there, Rod?
Um, Dimensions are infinite,
Okay.
but from the three-dimensional matrix, the resonance can only go to the 19th dimension. Then it'll turn into something else and start over from there, similar to going back to the three dimensions starting over, but it being so high up,
Mhm,
this the closest we can do to explain it is to try to explain going from 19 back to third, start all over to ascend again.
mhm, mhm,
Right. And In the lodges, it's called plumbing the depths to ascend to the heights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, if you don't hit rock bottom, you can't ascend to the stars.
Right. Right.
Right. So a characteristic of somebody that you always know if they into masonry is when their life is no longer in their control, they just let it all go. Just let it
Right.
fall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they pick themselves up from their own ashes and take the lessons they learned to build a better life.
When you study the information in the lodges,